Okay, I'm back, and we are going to work on baking our normal map from our high poly version of this bracer onto the low poly version. I've already unwrapped it, and I have my low poly selected here. And the next step we want to do is call up our rendered texture, which is up here in rendering, render to texture, or just hit 0. And I'm sorry if my computer's a little slow, but this shouldn't take too long. So we've got our low poly bracer, to make sure that's selected in there. We are going to pick our high poly object. It comes up. There we are. So now that adds a projection onto our low poly version, and make sure we got a padding of 2, 3, 4. That's usually good, but since it's all one object, it should be all right. And go to options. We're going to do a ray mist check to assure that there's no all of our rays are hitting the object. We want to go into setup here, and I already have it on, but I'll show you where to find it. We want to make sure global super sampling under the renderer tab is turned on, and we've set it to max 2.5 star. And also, I made this mistake before, you want to make sure that your renderer is assigned to the default scan line here. So once you've got that set up, we should be good. Close out of that. We've got tangent space selected. Green is down, red is right. Use cage is selected, and we can close that up. Now, since we already did our unwrap, we say use existing channel and make sure that's on 1 or whatever channel you saved your UVW map to. And then we can add in our normals map, and we're going to just call that normals, and you'll see that'll change the name here. And I just want to say I don't want to add this to a map slot, and since we're just going to try and test this real quick, we'll do 512 by 512. So we have that selected. Now you see this blue is our cage, and we want to make sure that hardware shading is turned off, because if you look to the right here, I click on shaded and we can see exactly where that cage is. So one of the things I like to do is reset the cage, and that brings everything back down to the low poly mesh, and we can push it out by a specified amount. So 0.1, 0.2 is good. We want it as close as possible to our model, otherwise you start getting some strange artifacting happening. And let's zoom in here, and you'll see that these little rivets are actually sticking out a little bit from the cage. So what I'm going to do is select faces and go around and select all of these guys here. And you have the base. It's the same as any other polygonal object, the cage that is, and we can manipulate it with the move tool, the rotate tool, the scale tool. So what I want to do is just quickly raise this part of my mesh up a little bit. And let's go to a good angle so we can see. You know what? We have to convert these to vertices. Or you control right click. Oh, I guess we can just control click here. There we go. And it's not too bad. You can see right here this guy. He's penetrating our cage, so move this up a little. That should do it. And now we can do a test render. Looking pretty good. No misses. We'd see red if there was a miss. Show you that real quick. Oops. Oops, I think I hit it by accident. So if I were to grab, say, one of these pieces here and have it penetrate, you'll see that a red section will show up on our map right here where it missed. So that's good to check. It's good to check it on a low resolution map before you do your full render. I like to do my normal maps at twice the size that I'm going to do my texture at, so 2048 is good, and if I need to lower it, I can in Photoshop later. So we do. I've already done a render, so I won't do it here, but basically we're done with the cage, and we can just go ahead and delete this. And I will hide my high poly bracer. And call up my material editor. And let's see, we've got our I think I've already created my map here, so no. Well, let's add, we're going to assign this gray material, and then in our bump channel, we're going to add a normal bump. In our normal slot here, we're going to add a bitmap. And I've got bracer normals. Saved out as a TGA file. If I show them, you can see them here. And we don't want that green, so I'll click Show in Material and Viewport again. And I'm going to actually bump this up to 80, just so you can see it. I might play around with it beforehand, or maybe leave it at 30 or go to 50, depending on how strong we want our normals to be. We'll give this a quick render, and you'll see that the high poly version has baked onto our low poly version. Too impressive to have rivet that we don't need to actually put into the geometry. Later on, I'll probably take this into Photoshop and add a design into our normal map on using NDO, and we can save ourselves some polygons for our final product. And that is how to create a normal map.